Hey, how we doing, guys? Chad with WeatherizeMaine again. I told you I'd do a video on, or a slideshow on mini split heat pumps. Ended up coming down with a cold and couldn't do it this weekend. I'm kind of recovering now, so I figured I'd go ahead and give it a shot. Um, so here we have it, mini split heat pumps. Right now there's rebates from $500 to $2,000 available through Efficiency Maine. If you live in a mobile home or a home valued at less than $80,000, or if you're a fuel assistance recipient or a general assistance recipient, you can have up to 80%, up to $2,000 of the cost covered. So for 15,000 BTU, Fujitsu mini split, one of the most efficient units going, you're typically looking at a $3,000 cost installed. With the rebates available now, you can potentially get a Fujitsu mini split for just $1,000 instead of $3,000. For everybody in the world, they can get $500 off. So stay warm in the winter and cool in the summer. Mini split heat pumps. So first things first, how do they work? A heat pump is basically an air conditioner that can run in reverse. So what you see here is you have an indoor unit, which can be wall mounted, ceiling mounted, floor mounted. So you have an indoor unit, which has a coil and a fan. It's an air handler. And then you have an outdoor unit, which has a coil and a compressor and a fan. So what you're actually doing is you're going to be moving the heat from outside to inside in heating mode, and in cooling mode you're going to be moving the heat from inside to outside. And believe it or not, there is heat in the air. Fujitsu can pull heat out of the air down to -15 and do it fairly efficiently. So we're going to look into how the refrigeration system works. Again, it's basically an air conditioner that can run in reverse. That's what makes it a heat pump. We're going to start at the compressor. You have refrigerant, which is R410A. The compressor compresses it. So what you need to keep in mind is when the pressure of the refrigerant goes up, so doesn't the temperature. So the compressor compresses the refrigerant, which makes the temperature go up instantly. It pumps the refrigerant into your indoor unit, which has a coil. It's at this point it's a high temperature gas, high temperature, high pressure gas. It's going to run through the indoor coil, and as it does, it's going to condense from a gas into a liquid. When it does that, it's going to release its heat, so all that energy that it had stored in order to be a gas is going to be released as it's condensed. It's condensed by putting it through a coil that's in your home that has a fan blowing air across it, so it's going to take the heat, it's going to release its heat, and after it goes through that coil, it's now going to be a liquid. It's going to be a high pressure liquid. It's going to come around and hit this expansion valve, which is going to turn it into a low pressure liquid. That low pressure liquid is going to run through the coil that's outside. Air is going to blow across it. It's going to absorb heat from outside. So that expansion valve made it low pressure. Low pressure means low temperature. So now the refrigerant is actually colder than it is outside. So you blow that outdoor air across the coil. It's going to cause that refrigerant to turn back into a gas. So now it's going to be a low temperature gas. It's going to hit that compressor again, which is going to compress it. Again, pressure up is temperature up. So now we're back to high temperature gas. And we're going to put that high temperature gas back through that indoor coil, blow air across it, take the heat from it, condense it, send it back through the expansion valve, which is going to make it low pressure. Low pressure means low temperature. So now we have a low temperature liquid again. It's going to go through that evaporator and the process starts over. So that's how it works. A down and dirty, simple explanation. So this is the typical setup, a wall-mounted unit on the inside, and that's the outdoor unit run by a wireless remote control. The remote doesn't actually sense the temperature. A lot of people get that mixed up. This temperature sensor is actually right up in the unit here. So the remote doesn't sense the temperature. It doesn't matter where you put the remote. You're just going to set the temperature on the remote. You can do heating, cooling. You can adjust the fan speed. Another thing is that it's going to have a filter inside this unit, so it's actually going to filter the air and promote good indoor air quality, as opposed to a combustion appliance like an oil or gas furnace, which is going to make indoor air quality worse. Mini split heat pump is actually going to make it better. Benefits over a central system, so you can have unlimited zoning, meaning you can have as many systems as you want. You can have a separate system in every room, each one with its own remote, so you can really heat where you need to heat, cool where you need to cool, and not just do the whole house with one system. There's no ducts in many of the systems, so you don't have duct losses. If you have a furnace, you're probably losing a lot of heat. Best case scenario, you're losing a lot of heat down in your basement, which you kind of need to heat anyway. Worst case scenario, you're running it through a uninsulated crawl space and just blowing heat right outside. So with a mini split ductless system, you're going to have no duct losses. It's able to modulate or meet demand, meaning if you just need to heat a little, you're just going to use a little energy, unlike an oil furnace where it fires up full bore, all or nothing. These mini split heat pumps are going to be able to hum along, consuming a little bit of electricity and producing a little bit of heat, or consuming more electricity and producing a lot of heat. What that equals is a higher efficiency. As I already said, it's going to be better air quality compared to a central system with ducts. Sucking in air from dirty spaces in the home and blowing it throughout the home. So you're going to have higher efficiency, better air quality, much quieter than a central system, and less maintenance. So here's a cost comparison put out by WeatherizeMaine, and on this particular graph, it shows ductless heat pumps as the least expensive way to heat, even better so than a geothermal heat pump, better so than wood stove. I'm thinking with a geothermal heat pump, they must be considering duct losses. So up here at the top of the list, the most expensive way to heat a home is just straight up electric heat. Yes, a heat pump runs off of electricity, but we're not using electricity to create heat. We're using electricity to move heat from indoors to outdoors or outdoors to indoors, depending on what you're trying to do. So don't get confused. So electric baseboard. With 1,000 watts, you get 3,412 BTUs, which is heat. With a ductless heat pump, 1,000 watts, you're getting 12,000 BTUs, so you're getting a lot more heat for the same money. The second most expensive item on this list to heat your home with is going to be a propane furnace, closely followed by a propane boiler, and then a propane space heater, which would be a wall furnace of sorts, followed by a pellet boiler. Pretty high on the list. I'm surprised. You got oil furnace, which is actually cheaper than propane at this point, and then space heater, which I don't know where they're going with that. Pellet stove, an oil boiler, followed by a natural gas furnace, natural gas boiler, followed by EPA certified wood stove, getting cheaper. Geothermal heat pump to a parlor stove, and cheapest on the list is a ductless heat pump. Again, this graph was put out by WeatherizeMaine. I didn't do any of this calculations or studies, but I know they put a lot of effort into these calculations, and what they came up with is a ductless heat pump is the most efficient way to heat a home. Much cheaper, as you can see, a third the cost of many of the other more traditional ways. So indoor unit and control options, we can do all kinds of different stuff. So the most popular is right here up top in the center, just a wall-mounted unit. It's going to suck air in the top. There's no air exchange between inside and outside. There's just a 3-inch hole with refrigerant lines run through it. So refrigerant's going from the outside unit to the inside unit. Many people think there's air exchange. There's not. It doesn't change the pressure within the building, which is another efficiency benefit. So it's going to suck air in the top of the unit and blow it out the front. That's the most popular unit is a wall-mounted unit, but sometimes a wall-mounted unit may just not work well. If you have a lot of windows, maybe over here on the right, you see there's a floor-mounted unit where it can mount under windows. So if you have a lot of windows, no wall space, you can use one of these floor-mounted units, which will tuck right under a window. If you don't have an exterior wall, it works really well in a single-story ranch. These ceiling cassettes over here on the left, you can put those anywhere in the home, and kind of more like a traditional system. You can have the heat wherever you want it. Down here in the bottom left-hand corner, we have a ducted system. So all these mini split systems will work with a ducted system, but you keep the ducts to a minimum. But this here is an air handler down the bottom left-hand corner. You can attach short sections of ducting to it and put the heat wherever you want. As far as controls, you can have a wireless remote control over here, bottom right-hand corner. All mini splits pretty much come standard with a wireless remote control. It's an upgrade to have a wired wall-mounted thermostat. Now, all the new Fujitsus coming out are actually Wi-Fi capable right out of the box. Download an app, you can control it with your phone or a computer from anywhere in the world. So there's many options. We do a wall-mounted unit, floor-mounted unit, ducted unit, ceiling cassette, wired remote, wireless remote, control it by Wi-Fi. You're going to have all these options. You can really customize it to fit any application. Outdoor mounting options. So here's your outdoor units. You can mount them right on the wall over here on the left. Your line sets go through line hide. It kind of looks like a plastic downspout. You surface mount all your line sets. And the unit can mount right to the wall, which is nice. You don't have to worry about it moving with frost heaves and such. But the one thing to think about on some homes, you can get some vibration and noise transfer. If that's the case, over here on the right, you're going to have a ground stand, so you can put it on a cement pad. They make plastic pads. I've looked at 1,000 of these things. I've never really seen any problems when people don't pour full-blown slabs. They don't seem to move. They're right tight to the house. You get enough heat loss where you don't get a lot of heaving. This particular stand shows 2 units on it. I just wanted to show this picture to show how wide the options are. But you could just have a stand with 1 unit on it. So you can do a ground stand, or you can fasten it to the house. You can fasten it to the wood wall, masonry wall, foundation. There's all kinds of options. And now Wi-Fi capable, like I just said, you can control them. The newer models it's going to connect to your router. You're going to connect to the internet. You can control it with a smartphone or a tablet from anywhere in the world. So one thing to keep in mind with mini split heat pumps is you don't really want to depend on them as your central source of heat. They're more of a supplemental heat. Maybe 99% of the year they're going to heat your home efficiently or cool your home efficiently, and you're going to be comfortable and happy. But you can't abandon your furnace. You can't get rid of the furnace. You still need to have that furnace for those days where it's just really, really cold. The most efficient Fujitsu's coming out now, they can maintain capacity down to 0. They can produce heat down to -15, but the colder it gets, the less efficient they get. Every situation's different, but just keep in mind you don't want to depend 100% on the heat pump, and you may be able to for 99% of the year, but it only takes a couple days where it's -20, everything freezes up. So you don't want to completely get rid of your central heating system, but you can save a lot of money by relying heavily on a mini split heat pump. I know they say oil would have to be something like $1.30 a gallon to compete with a mini split heat pump. As I showed you on that graph, mini split is the cheapest way to heat at this point. We are now certified Fujitsu installers here at WeatherizeMaine. We would love to come out, take a look at what you got going on, and see if you'd benefit from putting in a mini split. The key is you're going to stay warmer in the winter, cooler in the summer, and you're going to do it super efficiently. So that's pretty much the down and dirty quick explanation of a heat pump. Any questions, feel free to contact us at 1-800-400-7061, or go ahead and jump on the website www.airseal.me. There's a form you can fill out, ask any questions you want. We'll get right back to you. You can email me directly at chad@airseal.me. Any questions, feel free to ask them. Have a good day, guys.